Hi, everyone. This is Anne, Starfleet Science Officer and Young Adult Librarian for Washington County Free Library. And welcome to our Washington County Free Library Comic-Con 2020 virtually. My Starfleet Command team is myself and Jay Travato and Abigail Andrews. And together, we are going to boldly go where no WCFL Washington County staff have ever gone before to offer you this virtual event. The first thing I want to do is show you that we have a website where you can, on your breaks or later on today, click and find a lot of the information you'll see here during our live stream, and also additional fun activities, art, cosplay ideas, and vendors. Here's the website. Okay, here we are on the home screen. The next tab will take you to event info, where you can see our schedule of events. The third tab is very exciting. Here you can explore fan art, cosplay, and a variety of activities. All of the wonderful fan art that you're going to look at has been created by Washington County Free Library teams, our teams. And then there is a section with cosplay pictures from our Comic-Cons in year past. And super fun activities such as crafts, escape rooms, make your own superhero name, lots of great things for comic book fans. We have a vendors link because here in Washington County and surrounding areas, we are so lucky because there are a variety of wonderful people out in the community who are creative and collectors, and all of these vendors who have worked with us in years past. You can now also look at their information online. Please take time to explore. And finally, at any time, we are your librarians. Contact us. We love talking to you and connecting with you in all ways. And there's our library homepage where you can schedule your curbside pickup for materials, and in some branches, schedule time to work on the computers. Now I'm going to click out of the website. But again, I welcome you to visit it. First on our agenda is Superhero Storytime by children's librarian Jeff Ridgeway.
Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Jeff with the Washington County Free Library, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about a form of comic known as manga. I've got one of the manga books here in the window. But what I want to talk a little bit about are the origins of manga. And I brought along a kamishibai here, which is kind of not a forerunner, but kind of an offshoot of the manga movement. Now, the word manga comes from the Japanese word, which is composed of two words, kanji, which means man, and also whimsical or impromptu, meaning pictures. So, whimsical pictures is the root word for word manga. And they say that manga may go all the way back to 12th century scrolls, because basically manga is a visual art form where comics or characters are drawn either on scrolls or on paper, or in the case of the Naruto here is a book to be enjoyed visually. And a lot of them employ old stories and heroic characters, and some are very humorous. There's a lot of different themes throughout the years that manga has adapted, and you can trace manga from the 12th century up through 18th, 17th, and 18th century. Matter of fact, the story that I have on my kamishibai here is called Momotora the Peach Boy, and I actually had a book in the collection called Momotora and the Island of the Ogres, which is basically the same story that I'm going to share with you here. And it says in this book, and the illustrations are actually from an 18th century 17th century scroll. So they actually were telling this story hundreds of years ago, and it has been adapted to be used with the kamishibai. I want to show you one more book. That is Alan Say's book, The Kamishibai Man. Kamishibais themselves are a creation of like the 1920s and 30s. Japan suffered a Great Depression during that time, And a lot of the artists, in order to make a living, albeit meager, would make candies, and they would ride around on bicycles to sell candies to children and families. But part of their job is they would paint scrolls, usually of Japanese folk tales, and they would stop, and if you bought candy from them, they would share a folk tale with you in the Kamishibai Theater. Now I'll show you a picture, if I can make a close-up of that. There's a picture here, and that is by a man. Of his outfit there that looks very much like the one I have here. Now, at the end of this book, there's an afterword, and Alan Say says, the artists who had made their living with Kamishibai turned to more lucrative pursuits, notably the creation of manga, comic books, and later anime, but they never forgot their roots in Kamishibai. You might say, well, what happened to Kamishibais? Well, after the 1940s, television came along, and then the educational establishment in Japan decided that the old folk tales and stories weren't appropriate for their school-age children, and so the Kamishibai kind of went by the wayside. But you can still purchase Kamishibais today. And today I want to share the Kamishibai with you, which is called Momotaro the Peach Boy. Now, in the traditional Japanese way, what I'd like to do is clap together two blocks, because that's how the Kamishibai man would let the neighborhood know that he was in the vicinity to sell them candy and to share his Kamishibai theater with them. So I will clap the blocks and say, it's your Kamishibai man. I've come to tell some stories and sell some candy. And at that point, the children would all gather around and they would enjoy the Kamishibai. I'm going to slide this over here just a little bit so that you can see. I can see. This is how the story goes. Once upon a time, a small village, there lived an old man and old woman who had no children. One day, the old man went up to the mountain to gather firewood. The old woman went to the river to wash clothes. Jabu, jabu, jabu. The old woman was scrubbing the clothes, when suddenly she saw an enormous peach floating down the river toward her. Nubuku, 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 it seemed to say, as it bobbed up and down in the water. How happy the old woman was to see such a luscious peach in front of her, coming her way. She pulled it out of the water and she carried it home. What a delicious looking peach. Shall we cut it up and eat it? And just as the old man and old woman said this, the peach split open. Ho-gah, ho-gah! It was the cry of a newborn baby. Out stepped a beautiful baby boy. The old man and old woman were filled with joy. As the baby was born from a peach, they named him Momotaro, which means peach boy. The old couple looked at the baby and said, dear little Momotaro, please grow as fast as you can. They fed him one bowl of rice, and he grew. And they fed him 2 bowls of rice, and he grew even more. Momotaro grew bigger and stronger every day. You know what? After Momotaro ate, he just slept. He ate, and he slept, and he ate, and he slept all the time. And the villagers would come by and say, get up, Momotaro. You should help your father with his work. Come with us to the mountain to gather firewood. The villagers came by to get Momotaro on their way to the mountain, but he was fast asleep. They came by the next day, but he still did not get up. And they came by the next day, but he still didn't budge. Finally, on the 4th day, Momotaro got up and gave a big yawn. He went, and he started off for the mountain. Then he pulled out a big tree with his bare hands and carried it home on his shoulders. The old man and old woman were surprised. Look, Momotaro brought back a huge piece of firewood. The old man, the old woman, and the villagers were amazed. How strong Momotaro is, the villagers all cried. But one day, when everything seemed peaceful, the sound of shaking, boom, thud, boom, thud, boom, thud. What could that be? A horrible, sickening smell blew toward the village, and suddenly a band of wicked ogres appeared. They destroyed the crops, and they carried off the young women and children. Where was Momotaro all this time? He was fast asleep, and he didn't hear a thing. The old woman cried, "Get up, Momotaro, please get up." The old man said, "Come on, Momotaro, get up." The old man and old woman shook the sleeping boy. The old woman said, "A band of ogres attacked our village and destroyed everything. Come show your strength. Come show everyone what you can do." "I'll do that later. I'll go after them tomorrow." The old man said, "Tomorrow will be too late. Hurry and get up now." Momotaro slowly opened his eyes and said sleepily to the old man and old woman, "I will go to Ogre Island to conquer the wicked ogres, but first make me some millet dumplings." The old man and the old woman set to work busily. The old man ground the millet into powder, goren, 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 and the old woman made 3 giant dumplings for Momotaro. "Thank you, father and mother," said Momotaro. "Well, I'm off on my journey." The old man and old woman lovingly said, "Bye, Momotaro. Please come home safely." Momotaro had not gone far when a dog came up to him. "Woof, woof," said the dog. "Where are you going, Momotaro?" Momotaro said, "I'm going to Ogre Island to conquer the ogres. They took the young women and children from my village, and I'm going to get them back." "Woof, woof, what's that in the sack hanging from your belt?" said the dog. Momotaro said, "Oh, that's the best millet dumplings in all of Japan." "Woof, please give me one, and I'll join you." "Well," said Momotaro, you can't have a whole one, but here, I'll give you a half." Momotaro and the dog were walking along together when a monkey scampered up. "Chatter, chatter, where are you going, Momotaro?" "I'm going to Ogre Island to conquer the ogres. They took the young women and children from my village. I'm going to get them back." "What's that in your sack hanging from your belt?" "Oh, that's the best millet dumplings in all of Japan." "Please give me one, Momotaro, and I'll join you." "Well, you can't have a whole one, but here, I'll give you half." Just at that moment, a pheasant swooped down. He also wondered where Momotaro was going. Momotaro gave the pheasant half the millet dumpling, and he joined the group. They continued on until they came to the sea. "Saboom, saboom, saboom," went the sea. "How big the sea is," they all said. Then Momotaro, the dog, the monkey, and the pheasant got into a boat and headed for Ogre Island. It wasn't long before they saw the dark, dreaded-looking island off in the distance. "Here comes Ogre Island up ahead." "Screech, screech," cried the pheasant. "I'll go first and start the attack." Saying this, the pheasant flew swiftly off. When the pheasant got to the ogre's fortress, he took the ogre guarding the big iron gate by surprise and began to peck at his eyes. The ogre guard went, "Ow, ow, help, help!" The ogre guard fell to the ground. He saw this. The monkey jumped up off the boat, scurried up the wall into the fortress to open the gate. The gate opened. Once the monkey had opened the gate, Momotaro and the dog dashed inside, and a fierce battle began. The monkey scratched the ogres, the pheasant pecked at them, the dog bit them, while Momotaro went thud, 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 and he threw them to the ground. In the end, the chief of the ogres and his wicked band lay helpless on the ground. "Hooray, hooray!" shouted Momotaro, the dog, the pheasant, and the monkey. Momotaro said, "Now look for the young women and children who were carried off and bring them to me." They found the ogre's big ship. Momotaro put the women and children aboard, along with all the ogre treasure, and then they sailed home joyfully. How happy the old man, the old woman, and the villagers were when they saw everyone return home safely. And from that time on, they all lived together in peace and happiness. The end. And that's the end of that story. I'm going to close up the Kamishibai Theater. That's how it's easily transportable. Now you might say, what does the story of Momotaro have to do with a character like Naruto? Well, Naruto is a young man who has a spirit inside of him. It's put there by the main man of his village. So he's got magical powers. And Momotaro sort of had magical powers too. And Naruto wants to save his village, just like Momotaro wants to save his village. So they're all young characters who leave their homes. They go off in search of adventures, and with their magical powers, they're able to overcome all obstacles. I also have a share with you. This is an anime or a manga character that I used to watch years ago. I think he's still very popular in Japan. This is Astro Boy. He's kind of a robot boy, and he's kind of along the same lines of Momotaro. He has superpowers, and he works his superpowers for the good of his community. Superhero. So he's been around for a good while too. Here's the Naruto picture that I wanted to share with you. This says, moments prior to Naruto Uzumaki's birth, a huge demon known as the Kyuubi, the nine-tailed fox, attacked the Hidden Leaf village and wreaked havoc. In order to put an end to the Kyuubi's rampage, the leader of the village, the fourth Hokage, sacrificed his life and sealed the monstrous beast inside the newborn Naruto. Now Naruto is a hyperactive, knuckle-headed ninja, still living in the village. Shunned because of the Kyuubi inside him, Naruto struggles to find his place in the village, while his burning desire to become the Hokage of the village leads him not only to some great new friends, but also to some deadly foes. So just like Momotaro facing the ogres, Naruto faces friends and foes alike. So that's the story of the Kamishibai, and I hope that you enjoyed the story today. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of Comic-Con 2020, and that you come and check out some of the books that we have here. Even checking out The Kamishibai Man by Alan Say, talks about the art of the Kamishibai, or the story of Momotaro and the Island of the Ogres is the original story, one of the original stories of Japan that we created in our Kamishibai. So thank you, and have a good day.
Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and today we're celebrating Comic-Con at the library. So I'm going to show you how to make superhero cuffs using toilet paper rolls. This is a really easy kids craft that can help you cosplay your favorite superhero. All you're going to need is a pair of scissors, 2 to 4 toilet paper rolls, depending on the size of your wrist, tape, markers, and I like to have a piece of scrap paper, just so that I make sure I don't get any markers on the table. Once you've gathered your supplies, let's get to it. The first thing I need to do is cut my toilet paper roll. So I want my toilet paper roll to have both of the lines kind of in the corners. So I'm going to find where that happens and then directly flip over. So I'm going to cut here all the way up. Great. Then I'm just going to round the corners off so that they don't stick into me. Just like that. And there's my cuff shape. So next, I'm going to want to check to see how well this fits my wrist. For me, it's a bit small. If you have a small wrist, then one cuff might work great for you. If your wrist is a little bit bigger, then no problem. What we'll do is, I've cut another one already, and we will be putting them together like this. So before we get to putting them together, Let's decorate them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try to reshape them a bit, like that. Just give them some of that circular shape back. Okay. Then on the inside here, I'm going to tape. I'm going to put this together and tape it. If I see, if I put my arm down where I'm going to tape, yes, that covers my whole wrist, so that's a good spot, so we'll do that there. I'm using a few pieces of tape so that it doesn't come apart while I'm wearing it. And I see I have this gap here, so I'm going to want to roll my tape and put it there just to hold it. Could also use a stapler here. And there's my cuff. Now, if you want to, once you get it on, you can have someone help you to just use a little piece of tape and tape this edge together. If that'll help it feel more secure on your arm. Now I just need to repeat that process on the other cuff. Now I'm ready to cosplay. It's time to get in my outfit. Can you guess my favorite superhero? I hope you'll join us in having some fun with cosplay and imagining your story as a superhero. Until next time, bye for now.